first audition I ever had, they held auditions with casting directors. So they were like, they're holding auditions. They can't find their guy. They need a guy that looks like a football player, and it's for like the Marines. He's like, you should come in and try it. I was like, all right, cool. So I show up, and there's all these guys, like you'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I can hear everyone while I'm in the waiting room screaming and yelling, like cheering, like, I don't know. It was really, really, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so awkward. So I go into the audition room, and there's like 8 people there. They're like, okay, what we're going to have you do is you're going to put that helmet on, and you're just going to pretend that, this is before the game. You're trying to get the whole team fired up. You're the captain. All right, now go, whatever you want to do. And I like kind of just blacked out, I think, in that moment, because I like put the helmet on. I'm just like, let's go, guys, let's freaking get it. And I was just like losing myself in there. And then I was like, okay, thanks. And I left, and I almost like threw up when I went outside, because I was like, that was so uncomfortable and embarrassing.
Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I got a special guest. I got Stormbreaker. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate, you guys, I know all you content creators are busy people, and to get an hour, All right. So on the podcast, way we start things off, we start off with 3 random questions. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So best thing about where you live, being in Ohio?
Less traffic than I'm used to. Like, the traffic's good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not annoying. I know that's like a non-negative that I just gave instead of a positive, but I came from Atlanta, and the traffic was so bad. It's definitely my favorite part that about where I am now is just the fact that there's not as bad a traffic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and also I actually enjoy the snow, so it's nice living somewhere where there's some snow every now and then, like a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like, are you ready for the 4 seasons?
This last winter wasn't so bad. I mean, I think everyone saw it was a little bit more light, so it kind of like eased me into it.
Okay,
so see how this year goes.
All right, second question. At the end of a great day, you're ending with a nightcap. What drink are you ending the night with?
If I'm drinking, I enjoy a good bourbon.
Okay.
With maybe like an old-fashioned style, just something very, very light if I was gonna have a drink.
Yeah.
Which isn't very often. Other than that, it's probably like, which is kind of sad, but I'm like hooked on sparkling water.
Okay.
But not like LaCroix. LaCroix is really bad. Like it's like certain flavors of the bubbly brand are really good, and I end the night with that a lot of nights too.
All right. And the third question, last good movie or TV show you watched?
One of my like favorites to watch is Billions.
Oh, yes.
I really like Billions. Other than that, I watch a lot of smut, a lot of dumb drama like The Bachelor.
Oh no.
Or Love Island, or like really, really like corny. I enjoy like just like, I don't know, turning my brain off and just like watching cringy drama. Like, I think it's funny. It's so cringe that it's entertaining to me. Like, it's like just so bad that I laugh a lot. It's great comedy.
Nice.
So yeah, those are my 2.
There we go. All right, so let's get into this. So where does the name Stormbreaker come from? Let's start there.
Well, when I first started streaming, it was back at Mixer freaking almost 6 years ago now.
Wow.
And I didn't really know what streaming was or anything, and this was around the same time as the first Avengers movie was coming out.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really funny that the Stormbreaker axe was like kind of an interesting idea, and then like Rocket Raccoon being like, it's a bit much, like the name.
Yeah.
I thought that's kind of funny, overkill kind of name. And I've always been into like Marvel Comics and stuff, so I tried that name out, and it wasn't taken. So I was like, cool.
All right.
And then it kind of just evolved into my own thing.
Yeah.
Like after a while, like I played a lot of Fortnite at the beginning, so a lot of people thought it was funny. Like, oh, it's because of the storm in the game. You're trying to, break out of that.
Okay.
Or something like that. And also we like try to be really positive and uplifting to people going through hard times in the streaming world and a lot of the viewers. So breaking the storm for them and stuff like that was kind of like an interesting aspect too. So it took on a lot of different meanings for me and our community after that.
Yeah.
But we got it trademarked even. It took me 2 years with lawyers, but I ended up getting the trademark. And then oddly enough, before Thor: Love and Thunder came out, Marvel tried to trademark the name.
Oh.
And was rejected because I had it.
Oh, wow.
So that was a really cool thing. My lawyers were like, "We'll let you know if they make offers." I'm like, "Yeah, but no, they didn't make any offers."
Oh,
but
shoot.
yeah, that's where the name came from.
Oh man. All right. So who was Stormbreaker before you jumped into the streaming space then?
Chas Harvey, the actor.
Okay.
I still do some acting and auditioning and stuff, but I was doing a lot more before streaming.
Yeah.
I think streaming really became my passion. Like I always liked acting, not because of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I have stage fright.
Yeah.
So it's like the acting part wasn't because I was like, oh, I want to be, seen as something. I just loved like exploring human emotion, storytelling, and expressing myself in certain ways. Like it was kind of cool. I'm expressing myself. I'm expressing like real authentic behavior of a person, but it's not my lines. It's not my words most of the time. And so it was always like this half complete thing. I was really loving what I was doing, but then when I found streaming, it was like now I'm getting to fully express like whatever feelings I'm having or emotions.
Yeah.
And it's involved with things I enjoy, like either gaming or what we're watching.
Yeah.
So it kind of filled both of the like that whole thing, the big picture for me. So even though I still act because I love doing it, I feel like all of that was kind of preparing me for streaming, and I just didn't even know it yet.
Oh, cool.
So I was just doing acting and bartending. And then my brother, he was like, dude, you play video games every night you go home. Why aren't you just streaming? Because he knew about it. I didn't know about it. And when I looked into it, I was like, oh, wow, and fell in love with it, right away.
Nice. Yeah, I guess, like you were saying, the acting sort of prepared you for streaming. And with streaming, it's your words. You're not acting to be, you're not playing a role of somebody else with somebody else's words. Streaming, it's who you are and just all genuine.
Right.
Ah, cool. Now, speaking of audition, so, we all see on TV the audition process. Everyone's lined up and one after another. Is that how it is in the real world?
Yes and no. A lot of the time it has been like a lot of the auditions I've had. I lived in LA for 2 years and worked a lot out there, like auditioning. And it is all of the scary, cringy things you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. And there's like, you feel like you're in an assembly line of people that look like you when you're going in the room to audition. It's very nerve wracking. But since the pandemic and since people like, don't go out as much, the taping your auditions has become more and more of like the thing.
Okay.
Which is why I'm able to live in Ohio now, is because you can tape your auditions anywhere as long as you have a means to get to where you're filming, So I can always go back to Atlanta. Like I had a couple auditions just last week. So it's just I tape them and then I submit them to my casting director and my agent. And so that's kind of the main way to do it now. So it's not quite like it used to be, but it still is when it comes to like, if it's a really big role, I'll tape the audition and then you make it to the next stage of auditions where then I have to fly out or meet with them. And then you're in a line with people. So still got to do it a little bit.
Okay. And, to take that career seriously, it's got to be tough because if you get a role, now you've got to, be gone on the road or wherever it is for maybe a couple of weeks or a month. So you really can't focus on having, your backup job can't be something that's like a 9-to-5 really.
No. Yeah. That's why most actors you see are like the stereotype of waiting tables, bartending. It's because those are jobs that you can have somebody cover your shift.
Yeah.
And that's so a lot of like, you can't have like your normal 9-to-5 or like those kind of jobs. I know a couple people that tried to act, but it's really hard to get away.
Yeah.
And like fully commit, to like, if you book something, they're like, hey, we might need you for 2 months. You know what I mean? So it's definitely kind of a hindrance when it comes to like career of what you want to do. Like being an artist is very stereotypical starving artist lifestyle. But I've spent over 10 years, up to 10 years bartending and doing a lot of side work just to, keep doing that. And then streaming is amazing because it allows me to do whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's my own schedule, so streaming kind of aligns perfectly to allow me to keep doing that, which is great.
Nice. And do you remember the first time you got that role? Like, your first role, that calls like.
Yeah. Well, the first audition I ever had, I booked and it was very weird. I didn't even have an agent yet. I just started going to acting classes without any background in acting. And my acting coach, they held auditions with casting directors. So this was back when people were still coming in quite a bit in person. And I'd go in and they were like, they're holding auditions. They can't find their guy. They need a guy that looks like a football player, and it's for like the Marines. It's a commercial for the Marines, but it's like a football player commercial. And he's like, you should come in and try it. I was like, all right, cool. So I show up and there's all these guys, like you'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I can hear everyone while I'm in the waiting room screaming and yelling, like cheering, like, I don't know. It's really, really, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so awkward. So I go into the audition room and there's like 8 people there, casting director, producers, director. And they're like, okay, what we're going to have you do is you're going to put that helmet on and you're just going to pretend that, this is before the game. You're trying to get the whole team fired up. You're the captain. All right, now go, whatever you want to do. And I like kind of just blacked out, I think, in that moment, because I like put the helmet on. I'm just like, let's go, guys, let's freaking get it, and I was just like losing myself in there. And then I was like, okay, thanks, and I left, and I almost like threw up when I went outside, because I was like, that was so uncomfortable and embarrassing. And like 2 hours later, I was just eating lunch with my girlfriend after, and they called me because I didn't have an agent, so they called me direct, and they were like, we're putting you on first refusal. We really liked it. And then I ended up booking it, and that was my first ever audition.
Oh, wow.
But I think the first, like when I got an agent and started auditioning quite a bit, the first big thing I got, I think, was Army Wives.
Yeah.
Which isn't on the air. It has been years since it's been on the air. But I played a guy named Dennis, and it was like a couple scenes.
Yeah.
But I get beat up by a girl, and it's like, she's a military person, and I'm just a frat guy. But,
yeah.
That was such a great experience for me, because that was like the first time I was around like actors I've seen before. And I was like around a lot of people, and it's so not what people think when they watch a show. Like, I'm at a party at a house and the music's really loud.
Yeah.
There was no music. Everyone's mouthing, but not talking and dancing. And it's just me and the other actor. And I'm having to be like, so are you from here? Like, I mean, still yelling because I have to be like, it's like how you sound when the music's on. So you have to keep all these weird things in mind that no one ever really thinks about, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. And now, so you've done some commercials, TV shows, and a movie or a couple movies?
A couple independent movies that'll never see the light of day. Thank God. Like, I don't want anyone to see those or find those.
Yeah.
I had a small part on Endless Love that got cut out, so I'm not in it.
Yeah.
And then I did a part on Let's Be Cops, which was a really fun booking I did as well.
Yeah.
And those are the best. Movies are really nice. Like, I can see why a lot of actors want to do movies over TV. You get to not be around everyone for too long. You get tired of probably some people, but also the pay and everything else is just better. The quality's better. Like, you get way more time rehearsals wise, like as an actor. Like, if it's TV, you could be doing multiple scenes in one day. When it's a movie, you're literally going there for that day, and you're just working one scene. So it's really easy to remember. It's like, more quality over quantity, because you have more time, to like do that, so it's just more fun.
Nice. And now, when like you were just talking about rehearsing your lines, do you have anybody like holding the signs, dropping, or you've got to memorize everything?
Memorize.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure there's some big actors. Like, I remember talking to some actors that said like Robert De Niro like literally had his lines like on someone's back. And he'd be like checking them, and like have cards in their hands and stuff. And I mean, there's little tricks that some of the big actors use, but when you're there as like just a small fry, you don't get any extra little hints or helps. You need to show up like, ready and like down for anything, because you cannot slow that process down or be one of the like chinks in the chain that causes problems, because you're not that important. Like, if it's a big actor, they can flub lines and laugh. If I flub up my line, it's not as funny. People aren't laughing. It's not it's not like a blooper thing, because you're quote unquote a day player. You're there for a day, maybe, for the scene.
Gotcha.
So it's different. I have to memorize everything I go in for.
You got to be ready to go. There's no hang on a second.
Although I will say for comedies, it's a little different. There's a show called Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. It's on Adult Swim. And I was on that, and I was ready. I had like 9 pages of dialogue, and I was like memorized. And they were like, forget all of it. Because they're like, these guys literally are going to just say whatever they want to say, and you just got to hang with them. So I hope you have good improv skills.
Oh, wow.
So that was very intimidating, but it was very eye-opening. This is the first time I've ever had to do that. Like, literally, they'll just say whatever comes to mind because they're just trying to create organic, really funny moments.
Right.
And I heard that's kind of like how it is with Will Ferrell and like a lot of comedy.
Okay.
Like that's why with a lot of comedies, they'll do what's called a multicam.
Yeah.
Because if you get the overshot of an organic moment, but you're not getting the other side, it's kind of useless. You got to get the other person's angle. So they have multiple camera crews running at the same time. So it's a lot bigger and more crazy, you know?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now, looking back, you know, over your acting career to this point, what has been a highlight that just sticks out? It's like, wow, that was a really good, you know, a good show or a good moment.
Okay, so the actor, I always forget his name, but he plays, God dang it, he's on Lost. Desmond. I don't know if you watch Lost at all, but he's a really, really cool actor. I was like a big fan of the show Lost, and I remember him directly. It was like my favorite character. I got to have a scene with him on a show called The Passage.
Oh, shoot.
And it's literally like the smallest, humblest thing. Like a lot of my work is really humble and small. Like I like to joke about it, but it's like I had like a few lines of being like, yo, such and such wants to see you, and I'm a security guard.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was shooting his scene and his lines, and day players like me, we always go last, you know, because they want to make sure that if the lead actors are done, so they're, you know, their energy levels are peak, you know, because we're there all day. So at the end of the day, it's usually the very last person to go. So everyone's tired. Well, this was lunchtime. Everyone was going on their lunch break. And usually what happens is I'm talking to a tennis ball instead of him because he's at lunch, right? Like everyone went to lunch and they wanted to shoot my coverage while everyone was on lunch break. And he was like, no, I'll stay and you can shoot over shoulder. So he has someone to actually look at and talk to. And that's very rare. It's something that, you know, if you're an actor, you know that that's like a big gesture that he did. So it was really sweet of him. And then I thanked him after the scene. After we shot, I was like, hey, I know that you didn't have to do that. You know, I mean, that's really meaningful and nice of you. And he like took his arm around me, was just like, hey, when I was your age, you know, there was someone that would do that for me and stuff. And he was really, really kind. That's and then he had me like sit with him for lunch with his wife. And we talked about Lost and all this other stuff. Like super cool guy. So I was just like blown away by that. It inspired me kind of in a way to be like, if I ever become anybody of like some kind of value, I really hope that I keep that, you know, like, and I'm that way and don't forget these kind of things.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it was really special. It's really cool.
All right. All right. So let's jump over to video game. When did video games start for you?
Oh God, since I can remember. I remember being really little, and my older sisters had like the Super Nintendo, and I would always want to play like Super Mario and all those games with my sisters. Yeah. And I remember when the N64 came out, that was like oh my God, like 007 was my first, like GoldenEye was my first FPS. And I freaking played that like I wouldn't go to bed. I played GoldenEye all the time and Mario Kart and Star Fox 64. And those are like my first real strong memories. And then obviously Zelda was like huge in my life. Like probably one of the biggest things. Like Ocarina of Time was like, I just remember being in my room every day. Just couldn't wait to get home and play Zelda and like get further in it. And that was like, I was obsessed with it. So that's my first experience with gaming. Yeah. I think my first online experience, because I think it's crazy when we started making it like we could play online with people. I think my first experience with that would probably be Madden. Yeah. Playing Madden online. And then in PlayStation 2, SOCOM Navy SEALs came out. Yep. And that was my next like big breakthrough, I think, into what made me go, this is what I want to do almost. Cause it's like, I knew these people. I was the youngest member of the group. They were all like what my age is now, gamers, like 20s and 30s. And I was like 15, like, or whatever. And they didn't know that I was as young as I was, or they probably wouldn't have let me in. Yeah. Luckily my voice was like deep enough, but they let me in their clan and I was like a big part of their group and we'd play in tournaments on SOCOM and it was like a really big deal. It was so freaking cool. And that just meant the world to me. So I think that I took that with me when I started streaming. I always let like kids and everybody play with us when we jump in because I was like, some people did that for me, you know, like, so I do open lobbies a lot when I stream. Oh, cool. So yeah, those are my first early experiences that I've like stuck with me really hard. Nice.
Now, when did you start gaming on a PC and doing like the whole mouse and keyboard thing?
Right when I started streaming.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, I was playing a lot of SOCOM Navy, not SOCOM, Rainbow Six Siege was like my main game since the beta, and I played it on Xbox and then PlayStation when all my friends switched to PlayStation. And then when even like, and that was what I was playing when I finished bartending, is I'd go home and play Rainbow with my friends.
Yeah.
Well, then I started looking into streaming, and oddly enough, the first game that I thought I would try, which was insane, was Fortnite. So I started streaming on Mixer and was playing Fortnite, and I'd make that my title, like first time streamer, mouse and keyboard player, Fortnite player. So I wasn't just learning how to play on mouse and keyboard. I had to learn to build.
Oh yeah, because you didn't have no builds.
Building.
That's right.
It was, yeah. So it took me forever to figure out how to play. I was such a bot, but it was like, like people were watching. We were just laughing and having a good time when I was playing, because it was so difficult, to play on a mouse and keyboard and not know how to move around, let alone build.
And going up against all these 15-year-olds who are like, oh man, that's crazy.
So that was a great break into it. I would not recommend that though for anyone that wants to learn mouse and keyboard. Try COD or something when you first play mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh shoot. So you said you started streaming. Mixer was your first platform you streamed to?
Yes.
Now, what made you choose Mixer over, Twitch, or was it Facebook? I guess, probably just.
I didn't even know about Twitch.
Oh, no way.
I didn't know who Ninja was. Like, I was just starting streaming, and everyone was like, "Yo, Ninja played with Drake," and I was like,
"Okay,
I don't know who that is, but that's awesome." Like, holy cow! And I just started learning who Ninja was, and and learning about Twitch. But I'd already started on Mixer, so Mixer was already kind of my space.
Yeah.
And I was so addicted to streaming at that time. I was putting in 13-hour minimum a day, up to 18 hours every single day for 2 years straight while I was on Mixer, and made it into partner. And I was grinding on there so much that I actually became a top 25 partner, most followed partner on Mixer. And I was getting deals. I had management and agent companies that I wanted to act like I applied for as an actor that never reached out, that ended up messaging me because of my streaming, because of my Twitter following and everything else. And I was like, everything's happening. This is so awesome that everything's working out. And then Mixer died.
Right.
But we were doing really, really well. We had like 152,000 followers.
Holy crap.
My CCV was probably like 250 to 300.
Yeah.
Sitting decent, which on Mixer is pretty solid for us. But it was a great experience though, because I got to experience what it was like to be like doing really well.
Yeah.
From the bottom all the way up, and like I understand like a lot of the different layers of that and everything else.
Yeah.
And then going to Twitch was obviously pretty brutal. It's just an ocean, it's an ocean of content creators. So it's no matter what, it's just very hard for discoverability there.
Yeah.
I could see why people were trying to get out more, and I feel like it's become so popular at this point that you have to bring more to the table than just like having a good time in your channel. You have to make edits. You have to like put yourself out there on like all social media for people to see your personality, to come see you if they actually vibe with you. They won't just organically find you anymore, like at least on Twitch.
Nope.
So
now, what was it like on Mixer seeing that growth? Did you see the growth happen? Was there certain events that you saw huge numbers, or was it just gradual over time? You saw that growth, keep going up?
I think I was growing pretty well, just steadily growing.
Yeah.
But when Ninja signed, I would say when he signed to Mixer, I would say like, some people were worried that he was going to steal their thunder or something, but I was excited, and my follow count went up way rapidly after that. A lot of his people, because I was playing Fortnite, so when Ninja's not on, I was playing Fortnite. Plus I was a big enough creator at that time that I was getting front page.
Yeah.
So I was getting that visibility. So it honestly was a big boost for me when Ninja came, and when Shroud came, it was a minor little extra boost. More so not because of Shroud. I think it was because people were like, "Oh wow, if they got Shroud, this must be really the big, like the real deal."
Right.
You know what I mean? And people were taking it a lot more seriously. So I'd say those kind of things help boost it for sure. And then also I was getting very involved with streaming community. I wasn't just about like, oh, I just want to live stream. I wanted to be in, like, I was going to every convention. Like I was flying out. I went to PAX West a couple times, PAX South a couple times, E3, TwitchCon. I was going to all these places, networking and meeting people. And I felt like it was really helping getting me kind of like involved with knowing people, the right people, and and having a better knowledge too of like the direction I wanted to go with it as a serious streamer, not just somebody that was wanting to do it as a hobby, you know? So I think those things, like going to conventions and then, you know, especially Ninja coming over, I think those things were definitely big for my growth.
Yeah.
Like getting me going places.
And then when Mixer pulled the plug, that must have been just like, you know, the rug being pulled out from you. Like, where do you go after that?
Yeah, it was devastating. It was such a brutal way that they did it too.
Yeah.
Just over Twitter after like the fact that we were putting in so much time and effort. And I mean, I don't mean to knock Mixer, because there was a lot of employees that I was friends with that worked for Mixer, staff members. They were voicing the same complaints and wanting the same things fixed that just weren't getting fixed. It was like a problem with the chain of command, you know, and Microsoft at the end of the day just wasn't, whoever was running things between the two channels or what, just wasn't seeing the field the way it needed to be seen.
Sort of like it was a pet project with somebody at Microsoft. It wasn't a serious thing for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because Microsoft is like kind of notorious for that. They'll try something and then they'll just pull the plug and be like, yeah, it didn't work. You know, it's a massive company. You know, that's how it kind of works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like, honestly, how I look at how YouTube treats the live streaming is like it's somebody's pet project. If they were serious about it, they'd have a way better UI and an experience for the, you know, for the streamer and for the viewer.
Yep. Yeah. That was the big thing. Also, the way there was some drama that was going on, like, and I feel like it didn't necessarily, I think that the writing was on the wall and they just didn't tell us. Like, we could feel something was off.
Yeah.
Like you could feel the growth kind of stop and the money flow wasn't quite going anymore. So we were like, something ain't right. But then like there was a lot of like controversial things coming out, like one of the partner managers saying something that was very offensive. Well, the head of partnership, not the partner manager, like the head of partnership said something very offensive, and it was right during the Me Too movement and right when COVID just was hitting, like becoming a big thing, and it was all of that at once. And I think Microsoft was just kind of like, we're just gonna wash our hands of it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, they sold to Facebook. They didn't sell anything to Facebook. Facebook just happened to be like, will you take these partners if they choose to? So we give them a home.
Okay. And
Facebook said, sure. So Facebook offered all of us like a partnership immediately.
Yeah.
Being like, we'll take you guys, like almost like a, I don't know what the word is, like
a buyout or something. Like a company bought that piece of the business.
Like they were like, we'll take those creators off your hands kind of thing. You know what I mean? And a lot of creators were like, F that. And they went to Twitch and they just started over. And I was one of those.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with Facebook. I remember having a long conversation in chat with my community and I was like, where do you want to go? And nobody wanted me to go to Facebook. Yeah. And a lot of people were like, I'm not going to follow you to Facebook, because they liked having their privacy, their name not being, their full legal name not being shown, and all these things. And a lot of people just didn't like that Facebook kind of did that. Yeah. And I still voiced that to the partner people at Facebook, being like, this is what a lot of people would come over if you guys would just look at this seriously. And they were like, we don't want to, you know, like, that's not how we do things with Facebook. And I mean, that's all due respect and that's fine. But that's what kind of pushed me towards Twitch instead, just to start over. But yeah, it was also unfortunate. Like, somebody had just made my name Stormbreaker on Facebook.
Oh no.
So when people went to mixer.com/Stormbreaker, it directed it to his Facebook.
Yeah.
And Facebook wouldn't help me with that at all.
Oh, shoot.
It was like, okay, I guess everyone that uses my link or anything is now going to this guy, and that's it now. And a lot of people just didn't know how to find me.
Yeah.
I literally would be streaming for like almost 2 years on Twitch, and people that were on Mixer were like, there you are. I haven't seen you in forever. Wow. You know, like, how have you been? You know? So that was a weird experience, but we just kept grinding and fighting through that. But it was definitely a shock, not just for me. Yeah. It's a shock for everybody. We all had to make adjustments, which kind of I can get into later. But the whole thing with Kick, it kind of opened that. If you see Mixer people on Kick, like, you're like, wow, there's a lot of ex-Mixer streamers on Kick. It's not because Kick is like Mixer. It's because we were forced to change already, and we know it won't kill us. So we're willing to take risks and change again. Like, there's people that are on Twitch that they've been on Twitch their entire career, and I don't blame them if they're like worried or afraid to try something different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that's the real reason you see a lot of mixer people on Kick, is just because they know it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
You can always go back to Twitch if it wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So two things on that whole, the mixer piece of it. So first of all, going to, like you said, you went to Twitch and people couldn't find you. And that's, even back then, the discoverability sounded like it was not great. And now it's even worse.
Yeah.
And then, so going to Twitch, like, so you said how much, like what percentage of the community ended up following you over or finding you initially?
Percentage of people came?
Yeah, from your mixer community. Like, did you see a lot of these familiar names, or just the numbers were there, or were you starting out slow when you went to Twitch?
Man, it was a big hit because a lot of my viewers were people that were watching on the Mixer app on console.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them didn't transfer over, and I didn't know how to transfer them. I didn't know how to get their attention off of console. So I would say maybe 20%.
Yeah.
Of everyone that was in my channel consistently, about 20% came over to Twitch, I would say. And I came to Twitch in a big way. Like I boomed over there right away. I made a big impact. It was really nice. I was like, I'm trying to get partnered. They partnered almost, I'd say 90% of everyone that was partnered on Mixer.
Oh, wow.
That came to Twitch, they partnered them.
Oh, shoot.
I must have rubbed somebody the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I came in, made a big splash. We had like over almost 4,000 subs on Twitch my first month. Like we were really like trying to make an impact there. Like, hey, we're here. I want to be partnered here. I want to try and they never partnered me over there. And yeah, I mean, I don't have any like, and it's one of those things where you're like racking yourself, like, what did I do that could have been offensive enough, but it just didn't go my way over there. And I mean, who knows? There could be a million reasons, honestly.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, okay, we're on our own. I'm gonna keep doing this because I love it.
Yeah.
And I kept doing it, and I kept, just growing like an island. It felt like on Twitch. Like I never felt like I was Twitch. I always felt like I was just a streamer that's where I happened to be live.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people felt that way. Like I wasn't alone in that sense. And I think that kind of camaraderie was just waiting for another platform to appear. We were just there and just waiting for the opportunity. Like that, we knew that we didn't see light at the end of the tunnel, but we just kept going because this is what we love doing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that actually stopped streaming altogether, though. A lot of people they were like, I'm not doing this again. My own brother, who was a bigger streamer than me on Mixer, he actually was bigger than I am.
Yeah.
Crix. Yeah, like my brother, he retired and he's like, I can make money in other ways. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't that big of a problem for him. And a lot of people, like, they're like, we did this because we saw a lot of opportunity, but now that there's not, it's not really for me, And so I think it kind of helped, like kind of solidify, like I am doing what I love doing. Cause I'm like, whether it's good times or bad, I'm doing this because I love doing it. I love reaching people, whether it be only 10 people or 250 people or 1,000 people. I love, reaching them, bringing positivity to them. And like the charity, like there's just so much that I get to do and have an impact in that I just love. And it seems like a lot of the people that just vibe and relate to me are in this space, like I see that when I go to conventions. Even I feel a closer bond with a lot of the gamer crowd people, a lot of the live streaming people than I felt anywhere else.
Nice.
Like when I was an athlete, I was kind of a nerd gamer on the side that played sports. Like I didn't really go out with the guys on the baseball team. I didn't like quite fit in with that crowd, but I just loved playing baseball. Yep. So it just feels like home, and that's why I kept doing it. And I do feel very optimistic about the future now. I think that with Kick showing up, that it's going to basically be a better space for everyone. Like I'm one of those big advocates for Kick, and a lot of people think I'm like simping for him or something, but I just see what Eddie, the CEO, and I see some of the owners like Trainwreck and the partner manager and Paulie, like people that are staff that are working like on the platform, and all of their visions I've looked at, and I'm like, this is exactly what I've been trying to say. Even when I was on Mixer, this is what creators want. This is what viewers want. And I'm finally on a platform that's actually doing it, like actually doing those things for creators. So it made me go super diehard for them because I'm like, finally, this is why I've been sticking around for so long. And I mean, I have a couple friends that are over here as well that like helped me come over here, even that they've been with me since Mixer, and they were saying the same thing. Like, we're all looking at each other like, this is what we've been wanting. This is what we've been working for, you know? So I'm very motivated on this platform. Like, I feel like not only is it good for Kick streamers, but it's really, really good for every platform, every creator. Like, I feel like if it weren't for Kick, you wouldn't be seeing this, all these benefits with Twitch, multi-stream. I personally believe, and I know some people will disagree with me, I personally believe they wouldn't have walked back as much the TOS that they were about to introduce about the sponsorship deal. Like, I think that Kick has been a massive impact in the space that's created a better streaming world for everybody.
Competition is good.
Not just them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, going back to Twitch for a little bit, did you end up making the partner status after before you moved over to Kick?
Wait, did I make the partner status?
Yeah, did you end up making the Twitch partner by the end of it? Before?
No, they've rejected me. I stopped applying after the second year. I was on Twitch for 3 years.
Yep.
And I stopped applying after the second year because I just realized, like, well, I hit all of the requirements.
Oh, and they still
kept rejecting me. And I'm not the only one. There's a couple other people I know that no matter what they did, they kept getting rejected. So I just thought, I don't want to be a part of it anyway. Yep. Plus, what is the badge over there? Like, what are you getting?
Yeah.
You're not getting the 70-30 anymore.
No.
You're not getting, you're literally just clout. Like, that's it. Like, and I'm not interested in clout. I don't really care if I'm the biggest and most important person on the platform or anything. I just want to support myself. I want to support my family.
Yeah.
And I want to help others. Like, that's it.
Now, I've had a bunch of, I had a whole bunch of creators on, and I've heard, I've always asked them, what's your partner story? And, at the end, when you get the partner story, it's just a check mark. But this one girl who's been on, and she really had a great answer for it. The partner status, or the partner's check mark, gave it something that other advertisers who don't know what Twitch is or anything, it's a check mark. Okay, that's recognition. Now I can partner with you. And that's really the only answer I ever got that partner status, was the benefit for.
That's one. Yeah. And I agree with her that's one truthful thing. Cause a lot of sponsors, a lot of companies, a lot of brands.
Yeah.
Like, I had a strong following and I had a very good presence still with my community. Like, every business I ever partnered with has been happy with me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, people really like the product. Well, that's also because I only choose businesses I believe in their product too. But like, a lot of businesses will own, like, it's just, one of those things where they see a check mark so they think you're legitimate. Or they think like you're the real deal. But I feel like that stereotype was starting to lessen and lessen the more I saw a lot of people that had good numbers and everything just weren't getting partnered.
Wow.
And it's just a matter of being able to network. I think like with what I was saying earlier about the fact that I go to conventions, I think that helped me in the long run escape that problem of being like, oh, you're just an affiliate.
Yeah.
I would actually meet with them face to face and show them my Twitter following, show them my Instagram following, show them other things about me. And then
you were committed to doing what? Streaming. You weren't just somebody at home, just, that's it.
Like, even though Twitch wasn't recognizing me as a legitimate like content creator, I was able to prove that I was a legitimate content creator without them. I just had to take it in my own hands. So I think that's like a good lesson anyway. Like I said, like a lot of us that came over to Kick, we've gone through a lot of stuff where we have thicker skin for it. Yeah, and we're primed and ready for there to be a change in this industry, right? Like. And I feel like that's the same mission and vision that the staff and Eddie, who's leading it, like that's their mission as well. They're like, I was reading an article and I'll have to send it to you. I forgot who wrote it, but it was right after TwitchCon just happened.
Yeah.
And they basically said like Kick is a disruptor. They are the platform.
Yeah, I read that same
platform for the people.
Yep.
And I was like, that is spot on why I'm here and why I believe in it the way I do.
Now, did you have any hesitation jumping the Kick, knowing what happened with Mixer, and then just ready to do the grind all over again that you did with Twitch, and now you're ready for Kick?
Absolutely. Oh, when I first heard about it, I was watching, because I watch a lot of like podcasts and a lot of YouTubers like Ludwig, Moist Critical, and the first thing I ever heard about the platform was Trainwreck was making his own platform. This is what I heard.
Yeah.
And It was so that Steak couldn't gamble again. And I was like, okay, that's not really for me if it's, you know, a gambling thing or whatever.
Right.
And then one of my best friends, Gypsy, she was so mistreated by Twitch. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but she went ahead and went over to Kick. I don't know if you know iGypsy, but she'd be a great person for you to talk to too. She went over to Kick and was one of the first people over there. And I was watching how, you know, she'd been through things just like me, watching how she was really excited. You could see life back in her, basically, of this excitement that she was having, and things were going really well. And I'm like, good, you know, she deserves like good things happening to her. This is great. And then another one of my really close friends, Beezy Bee, she ended up going over there with Gypsy, and they started streaming both over there.
Yeah.
And when that happened, that's when I started asking them, because I'm kind of on a plateau with Twitch. Like, it was like, everyone's like, oh, I'm losing some. Dude, if things didn't work out on Kick, I go back to Twitch. It's back to the same status quo, right? Yep. So that's not even a risk. It was just the fact that I was like, they're both really excited about what's going on. I need to look into it. So I got in a call with them, and I started talking to them about, you know, what they're experiencing there. Cause I was like, so wait, is this a gambling thing? Like, what is this? Can you explain? And I did my due diligence, and I looked into, you know, the relationship Steak has with Kick.
Yeah.
And it's not at all what I thought. Like, Steak doesn't own Kick, you know, like Eddie is a owner of Steak, but he's also an owner of Kick. So of course he allows it to be there, but it's not at all an owner of it. So it's not beholden to it. That's my problem. I went from platform to platform where the platform was beholden to something that did not have interest aligned with mine.
Yeah.
So with Mixer, it was beholden to Microsoft, not me.
Yeah.
When I was at Twitch, it's beholden to Amazon, not me.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kick is beholden to what is best for the streamer. You and the viewers are the people we're trying to please.
Yeah.
So that excited me. So I was like, cool. And then the 95-5 split.
Oh,
like,
God.
It's a game changer. And I'm a big believer in that, and what Eddie and Train said about that. They're like, that's your money. Like your community wants you to have it, yet they're taking half at Twitch. You know, like when they're not even promoting you or help you, bring everything to them. Every viewer you're bringing to their platform, they're not helping you with that.
Yeah.
And then they take half of your earnings. So,
and they're requiring more ads to be played for the viewers who are, it's just, it was just
absolutely, it's
negative after negative. And they kept making wrong move after wrong move. And you were talking about, you know, when Kick started, I went into Beezy Bee's stream, went into Biggie's. I did a few streams. Just the vibe was really fresh. It was good.
Yep.
People who were there, they had new motivation or they were happy to be streaming again. It seemed, from the people that came from Twitch and went to Kick, it's like, feels different.
Right.
And it wasn't the negativity that a lot of people were amping up. And honestly, to me, it seemed like a lot of that negativity, that noise you heard, were people who made it on Twitch. And I think they may have been fearful of losing out and missing the boat to Kick.
You and I agree. I agree with that 1,000%. I've been saying that too. I think it's like high school. There was like a hierarchy where there was established people. They have a really good thing going for themselves on Twitch.
Right.
They don't want the status quo to change. They don't want the environment to change. Yeah. And I mean, I don't blame them. I get it. I understand. I mean, if that's what you're worried about, you know, like they're worried about their
income. It's their business.
Like, this is their reality, and they don't want their reality to change.
Right.
And it just seemed very weird that they kept throwing stones at Kick, like with morality involved, being like gambling. And it's like, well, there's still gambling on Twitch. And they're like, hot tub streams. Well, there's hot tub streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
Like, everything you're saying, it's not holding any like strength to it. And they've been dissecting us ever since we started, which honestly, it only helps our PR, it seems like, and growth, because it's growing more. More people are starting to hear about it, and then they'll find out themselves when they actually check it out, because the majority of the people that are on this platform, I strongly believe, are amazing content creators that aren't toxic, that aren't, you know, and as soon as you come over and spend a little bit of time here, you realize that really quick, that they just keep pointing out one or two of the like top creators, but that's a whole different universe. Like, there's huge creators on YouTube and on Twitch and elsewhere that do toxic things. We're just not combing through their content every day to try and shine a light on it.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, Kick is new. They're going to make some mistakes. they've adapted. They've put rules in place. They're changing, they're growing, and they're adapting, and it's making things better overall, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that nothing's perfect,
right.
like obviously, but I do believe that the leadership at Kick, they are about like doing things the right way and trying to make this a really enjoyable, great place. I mean, the adjustments that they've made in this span of time, this short span of time, is immeasurable to any other platform. I've never seen a platform make changes as quickly as they have. Like with the hot tub streams and gambling, they even made a toggle button for you like immediately.
Yeah.
Like they're constantly coming up with new ideas and new ways to make things not just like the most fit for you. Like, you know, if you want bits or you want drops or you want super chats, all that stuff is coming. It's not that they're not just doing that though. They're like, how can we make it better? And I love that energy because you're challenging these other platforms to do better as well.
Yeah.
So everybody wins. You know, if you throw this kind of system, like some group like this, they're literally making the entire industry a better place.
Yeah, agree 100%.
And so I don't know why anyone would root against that. Even if you're not going to stream on Kick, you should be wanting the best things for it. Like I still want, like I celebrate when Twitch makes a good move.
Yep.
Because it's literally like, cool, we're in a competition here. The last thing I want is for a platform to die. Yeah. And like all those creators that are on that platform to suffer for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's not what I want.
No, you've been through that. You know what it's like.
Right.
We don't wish that on other people.
Right.
Yeah. And now, you know, what do you think Kick needs? Or if you had Eddie's ear right now and said, Eddie, we need this. What's the couple of things you would like to have?
He's already doing them. Like and the cool thing is like, as a partner, I actually can voice a lot of these things already. Nice. So, a lot of these things are really interesting ideas too. Like a light example, like nothing super groundbreaking is like, if you have a top donor that donates like the most subs or whatever, gives the most subs, maybe they get their own unique badge. Yeah. It's like a big win for all streamers. It's like, so there's those kind of discussions that are happening. We all know that advertisement can be really annoying for the viewer, but it's also a great way of income for the streamer. Right. And I think it's really great that there's discussions going on with Eddie and the staff members about ways to make that an enjoyable or at least tolerant experience for the viewers, where streamers actually have a say about the ads that they're going to show, which is huge, which they don't have on Twitch. And then also ways like having it like a sidebar or like not fully take up the stream. Yep. Like they're coming up with every kind of way to make it a win-win for the creator and the viewer, you know? And the fact that you get to like, I just found it very weird, like that, like big creators like that have so much influence, like Hassan, who says like, you know, Kick is bad because of gambling. His viewers then have to sit through a DraftKings ad. Exactly. Yeah. You know, it just seems so ironic, you know, and it seems so strange to me. Yeah. So I just think it's really great that Kick is actually taking like an approach to make this a better situation, because you don't hear people complaining too much about YouTube ads like they do Twitch ads. No. You know what I mean? Like the Twitch ad situation is a very big issue. And I think that it's great that that's a discussion we're trying to figure out to help everybody.
Yeah, because you could be sitting through 5 ads on Twitch. And it's like, as soon as you see that, I'm out, you know? It's
and they show the percentages. I mean, before they started doing the 5 to 6 ads, they had what was it, like a 30% rating of people would not finish the ad to see the new streamer. Yeah. They would leave. Absolutely. So you're losing 30% of your possible new viewers. Mm-hmm. And they're taking half of your earnings.
Right. Yes.
It just seems like they're working against you over there. And I've experienced a lot more growth, a lot of better relationships here. I felt seen when I came over to Kick. Yeah. So I'm like, that's why I'm such a big cheerleader for Kick. I literally came over and staff members were coming in and chatting with us and making the chat even more fun and enjoyable.
That's great.
Like I have a staff member in my chat now. That's like showing love that I love very dearly. So it's like there's a lot of awesome feelings like that. You just feel way more seen, and I see people of all shapes and sizes, all areas of politics, all areas of race and gender that are getting noticed and getting a like actual like presentation. Like they're actually getting front features. Yeah. It's not like this one group. If you have to believe these certain things politically, you have to believe these certain things ideology. Like you don't have to do that on Kick, where you're actually like, I legit have never felt more safe as a creator to be who I am. Yeah. Like,
and I was always scared.
Yeah, I feel like on Twitch, I walk on eggshells. Like I'm so scared that I'll misspeak or something and I'll get banned.
Yep.
You know, like it just felt way uptight. The energy was just kind of daunting over there, you know?
Yep.
So I know I'm like praising Kick a lot, but that's just like how excited and happy I am about the platform and where it's heading.
Yeah.
And
nothing wrong with believing in something.
Yeah. So that's my take on it and my personal experience.
Yep.
And they've been very good to me. It feels good to be like last time I was on a feature or partnered or anything was on Mixer. So it's been a really great feeling.
You feel back home again.
Better.
Yeah.
Better.
Nice.
Like a lot of people keep saying like, oh, well, it's going to die like Mixer did. And I'm like, it's not Mixer. Mixer was a mini Twitch. For those that never knew about Mixer, it was literally the same replica Twitch. Half of your subs revenue goes to them. Like, you know, all the same issues that Twitch had, they were doing the same thing. They were just trying to copy Twitch. It felt like the only thing that was worse is bulk gifting subs didn't even exist.
Oh, shoot.
So if you had a big donor that wanted to gift 10 subs, he had to gift one at a time. And then by the 10th one, his card would probably get declined, which it did. So we never saw massive sub amounts until we left and went to Twitch. So we were, even as a nobody streamer on Twitch, I was making more than I was as a top partner on Mixer. Oh, wow. So Mixer was not like this special mecca where we were well taken care of, you know, like not in any way. It was smaller. So we had community, but Twitch had community too at one point. Like, you know, back in the day, you know, it got a lot bigger.
Nice.
You know?
So in my opinion, something I think I would like to see on Kick is, you know, have some partnership with games like, you know, drops like we see in Twitch, you know, like if there's a big, you know, new update coming or new game dropping, have some drops available for the streamers, but not in a way that, hey, it's 24 hours, you got drops and you can do AFKs or sleeping streams and, you know, drops and enable, but make the drops. You got to watch your streamer. The streamer's got to be live, and then drops will kick in. And that's, I think that's sort of the one thing Twitch really has an advantage over Kick right now from, you know, just making that, you know, bringing more people in, I think, viewers.
Right. I agree. And I can happily say that Eddie is very aware of that. And the staff, we've talked about it as well, where I can say that that drops are coming, that they're planning on drops, but they're wanting to make sure that it's not like taken advantage of.
Yep.
It's the same thing with the hourly pay, like in the partner incentive program that they've introduced. That like luckily there's 88 of us so far that have been announced, but they're obviously phase 3 is almost complete, being recruited, and then it'll be open to the public. We're kind of like the guinea pigs to it.
Yeah.
Everything depends on people not, us having a way for it to be sustainable and not taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So just like in that regard, where they have to make sure people aren't like, you know, like just showing VODs to try and collect hours, right? Or like you could think of probably a million ways that people would try to take advantage of it and cheat it. They're already looking into that. I mean, they're heavily looking into like everyone that's embedding and botting. They're very aware of that.
Nice.
So big encouragement to anyone that's on Kick. Make sure you guys follow the rules because they know.
Yeah.
And also though, with drops, like Eddie said, they don't want to just do drops the way Twitch is doing it. They're looking at ways that how can we make this even better? Like how can we, everything that Twitch and YouTube and Facebook do, it's on the table and what's being worked on, but it's like, how can we add to it, make it better? Like we'll have kicks, which are like bits. When they come out, they're making ways where you can actually like give your viewers kicks, or they can give each other kicks and move, like, you know, so as a viewer, you could actually make monetization, like just really interesting extra ways to like make it even more of a fun experience for everyone. Cool. So there's a lot of that coming. I'm excited about the drops too, because I thought drops was a great way to grow a channel. Like when Tarkov came out, a lot of streamers who never got noticed, all of a sudden they're actually doing well, you know, and same thing with Rust and Valorant. And I think a lot of careers got made because of the drops, right?
Absolutely.
So if you do it right, it can open a door and open up opportunities for people, you know, to shine and find their place in this entire industry, right? So it's great to have, but we also want to make sure that it's done in that manner and not a manner that's abused, you know, like where people, you know, take, you know, like how streamers take advantage of it. But, but yeah, that's another thing that excites me though, is just simply like that is something that they are taking very serious and keeping in mind that people aren't just gaming the system, you know?
Yeah. I think it's great that you know, as a content creator like yourself, it must feel good that you have somebody who is listening to you, listening to what you guys want versus just sort of, here's what's coming and that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever have this experience ever again, honestly, like of a platform doing this. It's so rare. I think a lot of us understand that, like, but this is something like we just don't want to waste. It's like, this is when we put in the most work and are excited about, because we want to make the most of this gift that we have with the ownership and the platform the way it is. And the fact that they're so interested in giving us all a voice on what direction and how this platform, you know, grows and evolves and everything else, where it's beneficial for everyone. You know, I think when you reward good behavior, good things continue to happen. And I think that's kind of the problem in a lot of systems, is like we reward behaviors that encourage ways to be broken, you know. And I mean, this happened on Mixer too. Mixer tried some pretty interesting ideas. They did the viewer incentive program where every view was 10 cents.
Oh, wow.
And so every view was like, if you qualified for this program, but then guess what? People literally would just leave their camera on.
Yep.
They would leave their pet, like a pet hamster and a camera on it, and they just 24-hour stream, never end stream, and the view money would just be racking up. And we thought at the time, a lot of us were abiding by the rules. We're like, those people are going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like, Mixer's going to do something about it, and they're going to punish them. And they didn't. They actually paid everybody.
Oh, wow.
And then they couldn't do it anymore. They literally were like, we can't do it anymore. We lost too much money. Like, it was, you know, it wasn't sustainable. Well, no, duh. You have to regulate it. You know, you have to make sure that there's like things in place that'll keep it sustainable.
Yeah. You need checks and balances, or people will figure out how to work the system.
Yeah. They'll try to manipulate it. And the fact that they listen to us, because streamers are on the ground floor. We see when something is amiss. We're like, hey, this could be a loophole. We're able to notify them, and they listen to us. You know, they're not like big leaguing us. They're like, oh, we'll get right on that. We'll look at that. And they look into it and they fix it, because we've had multiple situations where streamers, we've talked to staff or, you know, reached out, and then they're like on it, and they look into it, and then they make their adjustments, you know. And that's what makes me feel like we're in good hands, is because I do trust the leadership here. And, yeah, with the people that are at the helm and the staff members that are super enthusiastic, that I just feel very optimistic where we're at.
Well,
like, unless he wants to sell the company, I don't see any other way that it would go negative.
So Kick partner, how did you find out you were going to be one of the Kick partners?
Okay, so you get randomly selected for that. So I didn't really have. I was very, very fortunate that they saw me early on when I first came over, and I was on the feature list. Like, they'd pop in randomly. I tell everyone, it doesn't matter if you're a big streamer or small streamer, staff members will just hang out in there. And if they like your attitude and they like the energy you have, they'll put you on the feature list. Like, so I had somebody, literally just a staff member that was lurking in my channel. I was playing Destiny, and they just were like, hey, really like what you're doing here. I'm just letting you know I put you on the feature list. So then all of a sudden, randomly, every now and then I'd get featured, and I'd grow a little bit. And then with all of that, and I felt like I was building a good relationship with other streamers and the staff, which I think is important, you know, like networking, building relationships with other creators.
Yeah.
And networking. Luckily, the two friends I had, Igypsy and Beezy, both got selected for phase 1. And as partners, they actually take your recommendation into account. So not only did I have a couple staff members that already knew me because they came into my channel.
Right.
I had some people that made it in that were like, you should be here, and they recommended it. So, and I get to do the same thing now that I'm a partner. Like, I look at channels, and if I see somebody that's like really killing it and hits the numbers, I get to like at least recommend. I mean, I'm not saying that I get the end all be all say, and neither did they, you know, but they do listen to it. And luckily, I guess that's what got me the email. Like, they just DM'd me and said, hey, here's the contract. Are you interested in being a part of phase 2? And I was like, yeah, like, of course.
That's awesome.
You know, like, I felt very, very honored and very lucky and fortunate, because there's so many good people that have come over to Kick that aren't partnered yet. And some of them I think are bigger deals than I am, you know, like, I'm like, you guys are amazing. And so I feel like it was just very lucky to be a part of this like beginning program.
Yeah.
But after phase 3, it's going to be opened up to everybody. So
fantastic.
Everyone that meets the qualifications can apply at that point and be reviewed. And And that'll be great. And the cool thing about the partner program also is this is just one part of it. There's like 2 or 3 other parts to the partner program of benefits. Like right now, the only one that everyone knows about is the hourly pay.
Yeah.
Which like we obviously can't get too much into of because of the NDAs and stuff. But there's other things that partners will be getting beneficially that they haven't opened up yet to everybody and talked about yet. So it's pretty great. Like I think being a partner on Kick is going to be a much more rewarding thing than it was on Twitch.
From all the content creators I've talked to and whatnot, especially the ones who are in the US, you know, when you're a full-time content creator, one of the big things is health insurance, sick days, and vacation days. You don't have that. No. And, you know, something I talked to, you know, Deadly Slob with Veritas is, you know, that's something that is missing for people who have made that commitment, reach certain status. Maybe there's something that could be built into it that you reach that level. You have some option to buy into some sort of healthcare coverage or, you know, some way that you can take a vacation or have sick days, because it's not healthy as a full-time content creator to, you know, to try to either, you know, you work, you know, 52 weeks a year, you don't get vacation. And trying to stream when you're sick or you're mentally not into it, it's not beneficial for anybody.
Yeah. I think those are all really good ideas because you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people don't understand. I always tell people like, hey, try it. You maybe, you know, if you love streaming, but I recommend not doing it unless you love doing it because it does take such a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
And it is hard to take vacations. It's hard to break away because you're constantly worrying about especially like, hopefully you're not dependent that much on your sub revenue.
Yeah.
But, you know, it takes a huge hit on your subs. It takes you know, and it's very stressful for streamers when they're away to be like, man, I need to get back to stream. I'm missing this, you know, I'm missing, you know, and they're worried their community is just going to move on without them. And, you know, all those weird fears that they have in their heads. So I agree with that a lot. Some of it, I don't know if there's a way around, like even if we had a vacation that was paid for, we would be freaking out.
Yes, that's true.
And there is some things Kick's doing. I can't say yet, but that are kind of interesting as far as that goes. As far as like travel and stuff, but the health insurance thing is a new one I haven't heard yet, which is very interesting. I'm definitely going to bring that up in the meetings with them. I'll be like, hey, is there anything future down the road that we can like work towards? Like maybe working with like a healthcare program where maybe we at least get a discount in the healthcare system, you know, like, cause when I was an actor, that's kind of how it is with SAG, with my union, right? Like we hit a certain number of work as an actor, you're making a certain amount, like maybe like you would as a streamer, you're making a certain amount to be a partner, you'd qualify for these health benefits. Like that's kind of how the SAG union worked. So I don't see why that wouldn't be like a thing that we could consider down the road. It'd be very interesting.
Because if you have enough partners at a certain level, that's people who would buy into a system. As, you know, as Kick, they, you know, just sort of how larger companies do it. You know, once you get a certain threshold of employees, you get discounts. And maybe that's just some way to, because I'm sure there's families out there or people just sold, you know, 30-year-old person streaming that doesn't have health insurance because they're trying to make it as a full-time content creator.
Absolutely.
So it's just that's something that I seems to come up.
That's a great idea. I've been complaining about health insurance for a while now. So now that you mentioned that, that's pretty awesome idea. I think definitely worth bringing up and talking about. They let us bring, you know, any ideas to the table, and they don't just like let them go in one ear and out the other. They like honestly listen and see if it's something doable, which I really respect.
That's awesome.
There's like no dumb questions when I'm in there talking, and they want to know like what else can we do to make this really cool. Because I mean, yeah, you're right. If that program, I mean, that would be huge for them, because I don't know any creator that would be like if I heard that, like, honestly, the 955 and the fact that there's even hourly possible on a stream was already mind blowing, like to make me come over. But I mean, healthcare on top of that would be insane. Like, that'd be so cool.
Because Twitch doesn't do it. YouTube doesn't do it. If Kick all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? You're a partner streamer. You have an option to do health insurance. Because I guarantee you, most people who watch a streamer have no idea that it's so much more than just playing a game. And you are your own small business that you've got to sort of manage all aspects of it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. That's something that, who knows, man. I hope that catches legs, because
that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool for a lot of us that need it too. Like just sort of form to help a lot of the creators that are out there in that aspect, you know. So
absolutely,
that's definitely something I'm going to take with me.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right. So looking at the, all of these, the rebuild from Mixer to Twitch to Kick, what has been sort of the, somebody with that much of experience, what has been the toughest thing about, since you first went live to, firing up your stream tonight and going live? What's the hardest things about being a content creator?
Oh man. Accountability, self-accountability, I would say probably the hardest out of all of it. Like there's a lot of things that are pretty tough that people don't understand, but it's like, if you don't have anyone, like you don't have a boss, you don't have anyone that's like, making you do it. You have to like literally get up, and it takes more than I think people realize to like do things on your own and actually get those things done. Like there's been many days where, especially on Twitch, where I just did not want to hit the live button. And and sooner or later, like you could feel that way for weeks. And I know people are like, well, if you don't feel like streaming, don't stream. If it's like your main source of income and you've already taken a couple days off, that is not as easy of an option just to be like, well, I'm just going to not do that again. And I mean, I've felt that, especially on Twitch. This is why I went back and started bartending again.
Yeah.
Because it is important to bring quality to your work. And you have to have that like accountability to look at yourself outside of yourself, kind of like look at the big picture of what's best for the business, because a lot of emotions can take control, and you can kind of harm yourself too. So it's like knowing like how far you should push yourself, is it a very important thing. A lot of people overpush and they grind so hard that they burn out, and that really can wear on your health, physical health, and your mental health. So knowing, like when you need to push through and get the work done, make that YouTube video, make that clip, make that, go live, do the things that you don't want to do, and learning how to have that delayed gratification is, I think, extremely important. And that self-discipline, if you want to be a very successful business and not just be like a hobbyist at it, because you're going to have ups and downs, and being able to move and progress during the down periods where maybe your view count's down, maybe your sub levels down, being able to work through that and not just break into pieces and kind of like break everything you've already built, like we can do so easily. I think that's something that's definitely one of the hardest things to go through.
Yeah.
And it's also an ego check. Like, I mean, just having that ability to not let your ego take a hit. That was a big one. I mean, I didn't have a big ego when I was on Mixer, thank God, because it was a very humbling experience to like start over again.
Right.
Like put all that work in, and then literally people that were talking to you and treating you like somebody, a lot of those people just gone, like gone with it,
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to just be like, just look ahead and stay productive and take the positives from what you got from what happened, don't let it wreck you. But like, what did I learn? Like, I actually gained a lot of knowledge from all my time on Mixer. It wasn't wasted,
right?
Like that energy wasn't wasted. I actually built some good relationships as well.
Yeah.
So those are good things to take with
too.
it,
And your skills transferred as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, something you touched on, sort of, that grind and whatnot. Last year I was talking to Veritas about, the grind and how many hours people put into streaming. And he said, 5-10 years from now, the content creators are going to be sort of like the Disney kid actors from the, early 2000s. There's going to be some diagnosis of mental health and things like that because of people who have just sat in front of a camera and streamed 12 hours a day for X amount of days. And having a break, like, I think what you do with the bartending is a fantastic break from sitting in front of a stream. And, because even though you're streaming, you're interacting, you're not really having that human to human interaction. You're reading chat versus as a bartender, you're out there, you're interfacing. So from a, from a mental health standpoint, it's probably a very good balance to have.
Yeah. I'm kind of grateful, like, getting back into bartending. I gotta say, like, because I mean, when I was doing really well on Mixer, I was full time.
Yeah.
And like, yes, the ego check, yes, the humility of like going back to work or something like that. That's a little something that you like a hard pill to swallow at first. Yeah. The reason why it was really hard though was like what you just said, where going back into interactions, it's weird. It's like I almost felt like I was like malnourished or something, like to socialize. Like it was like I was actually scared going into the interview, going like feeling all this anxiety of like, I'm like, man, this used to be nothing. Like, is this because I've just been inside like for so much time that I'm like, I'm overly anxious to just talk to people, and I never used to be that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And getting back into bartending, I think has definitely helped me. Because I mean, the first week it was like that, but then I started to be like, oh, I've been here, I know what I'm doing, and it got back into what I used to be.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is something to that. What you're saying is like being out, socializing at least a little bit.
Yep.
I also like majorly encourage people to go out and exercise, even if it's like just a walk outside, just something like where you're physically active and you're outside. It does so much for your mental health. Like you don't even realize. Like I always feel really depressed and down like some mornings, and it's night and day. Once I'm at the gym and I'm working out, halfway through the workout, I'm all of a sudden like I have ideas clicking in my head again. I have like, there's optimism in me again, and I feel like some motivation to do something, like I feel way better. So I always try to tell people like it is important to do that. I still feel like I could do it more. Like I need to do it even more.
And right there, when you said you're at the gym, you're getting ideas, that tells me you love what you do. Because if you didn't love what you were doing, you wouldn't get these ideas out, away from in front of a camera. You know that? It's like you'll be driving. Like I'll be driving. We'll drive to Canada to see family, and over that drive, like, oh, that's a good idea. And it's just because you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great feeling. That's why it's worth the struggle. Like I tell people, I'm like, don't do it. But if you love doing it, like I love doing it, there's a passion there that I can't put a price on, like, so even when we're in times of famine where, money's tight and we're struggling or whatever, I feel so good about what I'm doing. Like I can't imagine not doing it, and that's why I went and bartended as well. I'm like, I'll just do a side thing. Like I can still do what I love to do, and still handle my other obligations and stuff with my life. But yeah, it's just, I love doing it.
Excellent.
It's so much fun to think of new ideas to show people and, entertain people. So yeah, that's
All right, so I went back through some old Instagram stuff, and I saw that you did GTARP.
Yeah.
What was that like?
RP. Dude, RP is hard. I have a lot of respect for people that do RP.
Yeah.
Anyone that does GTARP, I love it, but it's so, for me, I'm either amazing or I'm not. It depends on who's with you. Like it depends on your partner.
Now, is it scripted, or do you have a plan, or is it all off the cuff?
For me, it was all off the cuff. It was totally improvised. I love doing improv when I was acting and training. Like I took improv classes, so it feels very much like improv.
Yeah.
Where, what can I do to make the scene even more fun? What can I do to add to the scene? And when you get other people like that, magic happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at some of the best RP streamers, that's what they do, and that's who they're surrounded by, is people that literally just one up the next thing, and it's like you're giving each other layups. It's not ego, it's not selfish, it's not self-inserting, it's not any of that. And it's just, and that's why I said kudos to people that do it, because it is very hard, especially when you're coming up. Because there is a lot of self-inserting, there is a lot of ego, there is a lot of like drama. And it's so, I love it. I think it's one of the best forms of streaming, but it's so hard to find those people. And when you find them, it's magic. And it's like the most rewarding, amazing thing ever. You know what I mean? And then like, there's a lot of servers that have come up and then died. So I have a lot of respect for people that do RP. I still do it every now and then, but it's challenging, man. It's hard, especially if you're trying to come up with things on your own.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people create scenarios like they know what they're going to, and I think that's great. I think it's good to have a plan.
Yeah.
But then I think you got to be okay with letting go of the plan and letting it take you somewhere else if that's where it's going organically, right? But it's good to have at least a starting point of like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to rob this bank, or we're going to do something, and then just see where it takes you,
Yeah. I think the way I look at GTRP is almost like a TV show. You could have, if you have some really great improv actors, you could create some fantastic, comedy or interactions, or a show that, every week somebody tunes in and there's your show from all different angles of what's going on. I just think that would be such a cool thing if you had all that talent, all buying in to doing this thing.
I've seen a lot of actors and voice actors that have just amazing to watch
Yeah.
on RP. I had a lot of fun when I did Wild RP, which is like one of the bigger Red Dead RP servers. Had so much fun on that one. And I don't know if you know Duke of Flukes.
No.
At all. He's a big Australian streamer. He was on Mixer and Twitch, partnered with both. But he's also an actor and voice actor, and he was someone I'd always try to work with on there. That just, you know, there was some people on there that were so funny.
Yeah.
I actually like taking the L, you know, like some people, I feel like that's the best. I like being the team player. Like I don't need to be the hero of the scene. I just want to make it really funny.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're around people like that, man, I've had some of the biggest laughs and the most funny moments.
Awesome.
For sure.
All right. Would you ever go back and do more RP, or that's sort of that ship has sailed?
No, I would do it. I'm just full on variety right now.
Yeah.
Which is like, I would not be doing very well at all on any platform. Kick is probably the only place where I can actually do okay, just because it's a little smaller.
Yeah.
Because variety is not a good business plan. I get tired of doing one thing, and I just love trying a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it keeps things interesting. I know if I feel stale, then everyone feels stale, like in chat. So if I'm not enjoying like something, or I'm like, we've done this 1,000 times, like I just feel like my energy goes down and everyone else's. So I like trying new games. I definitely would still do RP. It's just a very challenging thing, like I said, with finding the right people that I would do it with. But totally up for it. Like I think that's amazing content when you can do it, like repeatable content. You could like make a lot of YouTube videos out of it. You know?
Yeah. You know, I have creators that have been on that are, you know, main gaming one game, and then I've had others that are on variety. I honestly think variety is the way to go. If you get your community behind you, absolutely, because you're not tied to that one game. And like you were saying, you know, if you feel stale on a certain game, let's switch it up.
Right.
Yep.
That's literally what we do. I mean, we played Overwatch, Apex, Destiny 2. We've been playing a lot of Phasmophobia now again. Like we brought that
Just
back out.
Fun.
Baldur's Gate's been really fun because you get to role play a little bit with that, you know, like, and also, I agree with you. Like it takes longer to grow as a streamer when you're doing variety, but they stay they stay with me. Like I know that no matter what I'm doing, they're not there for the game. Whereas you can grow really fast if you're doing really well with just one game. But if you all of a sudden change that, it's very scary. You don't know how that's going to look, you know, and if your community will be okay with it.
Yep.
So I do feel free from that at least, but that it is a snail pace of growth usually.
Yes. Now, speaking of community, how would you describe the Stormbreaker community?
Be
nice, because they're probably listening right now.
They are. They are all types. I try to make it to where there's only one rule with my channel, and that's just be respectful to one another.
Yeah.
People from all different, you know, like I said, like politics, religion, you know, genders, anything. Everybody's welcome in our channel, and everyone has a good time and laughs. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have a lot of different people in my channel that are very different from each other. Like, and it feels very cool. Like, I just feel like it's what I was raised to believe was like the American dream in a way, like the melting pot of everybody being able to, we all can love and be around each other. We may have differences, but we should just focus on the things that we share instead of constantly like harping on trying to make everyone like us.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing I'm very proud of with my community. So I'd say diverse, but I'd also say like we all enjoy childish, inappropriate behavior. Nice. You know, like there's just no shame in it. I love goofing off. I love that they accept me for being the goofy person that I am.
Yeah.
Because I think people look at me and at first think I'm just like a jock or something, like that's at least how I felt in high school. And then when people get to know me, it's very weird, like, because it's like not quite what you thought you were going to get, you know, and I just love them for accepting me for that, you know, and everybody seems to accept everybody pretty well.
Nice.
We keep it pretty fun.
So have you ever looked at the analytics and you look like, oh my God, I'm like David Hasselhoff. I'm huge in Germany.
No, I haven't. But I do have, like, I did get a pretty solid number of like people from other places. Like we have like one person from France, Marlena, and then we have Liddy and Quinn from Norway.
How cool.
And then we have like like, Cyborg, and we have a lot of people from New Zealand and a lot of people from Australia, Canada. So we're very widespread. Like we have a lot of people from all over the place for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Isn't it amazing how you can just reach a global community? You can have a global community from sitting in your house and just, doing streaming every day. It blows me away.
It's a beautiful thing. And I'll tell you, man, like when I don't know if you've gone to many like conventions, but man, it was one of the coolest experiences when I was on Mixer, when I went to like the first convention that I went to. It's really a crazy thing seeing like all these people actually in real life, and when they come, when a lot of them show up, and from all over the world, they fly in, and and that was a cool experience. I remember when Duke, because he's an Aussie.
Yeah.
First time I saw him was at E3, and it was a Mixer event we were doing, and he showed up, and we didn't even speak. We just hugged immediately. Like we didn't even trade words. Like immediately just hugged each other. And it was like, I don't know, it's just this really strong sense of family that I have with a lot of our people. Like we genuinely, like, it's like, are invested in each other's well-being and the success of everybody, which I love. I don't like this whole, like, because I think there is a lot of streamers out there where, and it's not like I'm not trying to knock it, but it is like like they're on a podium, and you're supposed to look up to them, and I don't do well with that, which maybe I'm never meant to be a big streamer because of that. I hate that. I want us all to no, we're all equals here. We're all on the same page. Don't like think of me as something else. Like you should always feel welcome and able to come up to me and talk to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously they respect my privacy. It's not like we're saying like, please stalk me and, DM me all the time. But like be comfortable enough to like, I'm just another human being just like you are, and that's, I think maybe that's just from my high school experiences that makes me be that way. Cause I hated the whole high school experience,
all the cliques and whatnot that went along there. Yeah.
I want everyone to feel welcomed, and I want everyone to feel like, they have a place, and it's cool that we get to do that here. It feels rewarding.
Something that's unique to, I've talked about this with a bunch of people, is like, when you go to these cons, you turn this way and there's the community, your community's looking at you, and then you turn that way. It's like, there's appears that you're sort of like, oh, wow. And it's just, you sort of have both roles. Like, oh, I'm, hanging out with XYZ, and here's my community looking at me like this. Is such a neat feeling, I'm sure.
Oh, dude. It's absolutely. I enjoy it. And it's really funny too when you collab with other streamers too, because like I love being the viewer as well. Sometimes like I'll go in there and like, because I just want everyone to feel like it's this fluid thing where we're all like a good community, and I'm always happy to share my community. Like
nice.
There's some competitive streamers out there that are like, I only am collabing because I'm gonna take your viewers, like secretly. And like I'm like, dude, they can go wherever they want. Like right. I'll share whoever I can share if it helps a streamer grow and get to where they're trying to be. Like, that's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So something I saw on your Twitch thing was something about the A-Star Collective. What was that?
Oh, that was Astro.
Oh, okay.
So which Astro and Logitech, like I'm not sure how much of Astro is left, because it seems like Logitech is really kind of overseeing a lot more now. Yeah. But I'm partnered with them still, but I'm partnered with Astro and Logitech. So the A-Star was like the team basically. It was a lot more involved before, but not as much, it feels like now.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, I love Astro headsets. I mean, they're one of the brands that have stuck with me since the Mixer thing. Like they signed me when I was on Mixer, and like I said, I lost a lot of partnerships going to Twitch, starting over, and I feel very loyal to the brands that were like, no, we're staying with you. We're sticking with you, like while you're working your way back, So
that's good to hear that there's brands out there that are like that.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So you sign off for the day, you're not bartending. What do you like to do?
Like if I so not streaming, like I'm just
right. You're done for the day, or you got a day off. What do you, what are some of the things?
I spend a lot of time with my dogs. No. I need to get a hobby though. You're right. Like, I mean, I do painting, but when I'm doing that, I'm usually like, I'll stream it. So it's still, I'm like cheating my hobby. But I think it is important to do stuff like away from like, stream. So maybe painting, I should do off stream sometime too. No, I don't knit though. That'd be funny. I spend a lot of time with my dogs and my girlfriend. Like we like to try and go out and like last week she got me out for a 3-day little trip to a cabin.
Nice.
We went to Kentucky. We went to Mammoth Cave. We toured Angel's Envy Distillery. So we did like some cool stuff, like which was really refreshing for me. It's like I wanted to be streaming and everything, but it was like, this is really nice that we're getting out.
Yeah.
So things like that, just trying to spend time with friends, spending time with her. And
Nice.
we have 2 German Shepherds that would, you know, I love them so much. So we spend a lot of time with them. And man, I mean, when I'm not bartending and not streaming, I don't spend a lot of time other than those things. So like, yeah, that sums it up. Just spending time with them, maybe take them to the park. Oh, and then working out.
Yeah.
Working out's probably the one hobby I don't stream or show anybody right now, because I don't want to film in a public gym, you know, like, I don't know how people do that. I don't know. I just am too worried, man, about other people. Like, I'm worried about their privacy, you know? So
I had Stephosaurus Flex on.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah, she's a partner also.
She was telling me that, you know, she likes to work out and she goes to a creator's gym. I was like, what? So so there's gyms that, you know, encourage you to film yourself. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that existed.
I don't know if we have that in Ohio, but that is awesome. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, Steph's amazing.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
That's another partner. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, you survived the podcast. But before I let you go, I ask every guest at the end of the podcast to shout out somebody they think would have a good story to come on the pod. Who do you, in your circle, would you recommend?
I think 2 really, really good people. And I think you said you didn't know them, which made me excited because I'm like, I want to introduce you.
All right.
Is igypsy and Beezy Bee.
All right. Sounds
good. They're both part of the first phase, the first class partnership. And they're super, super, super awesome content creators. I owe them a lot because they've really helped me along the way too. Like, you know, we encourage each other, but they have extremely interesting stories. They both have kids. They go through a lot more than I even have to. So it's like, I'm very humbled at how much they do. Yeah. And the fact that they have like their kids, they have all sorts of other things going on in their life. And I'm like, I'm humbled because I keep thinking like my life's difficult, like, being a streamer and taking care of myself
and your dogs
and my dogs. Yeah. And so I think both of them would be amazing to interview. And I mean, Beezy just interviewed Eddie. Yeah. She's killing it on the main stage. Awesome. She had an amazing interview with Paulie, who's one of the big techs, Andrew, the head of partnerships and stuff. Oh, wow. And Eddie. And she was interviewing the 3 of them live and did an incredible job. So yeah, I think she'd be an easy person to interview. She knows how to handle herself. Excellent. And Gypsy too.
All right. Well, let them know they're going to be coming on Tardux.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much to doing this. And it was wonderful to meet you.
Hey, it was great meeting you finally.
All right.
Awesome.